Oh, just singing into the microphone so we can scare off anybody who doesn't like it when I make fun of myself at the beginning of the show. And while we wait for YouTube to receive the show, it takes a minute for YouTube to verify that we're real humans. Dun 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 dun. How long does it take for YouTube to figure out if we're sending them a signal from real humans? I don't know how long it takes. It's been 1 minute and 48 seconds. I don't know. I'm going to start the show and see if YouTube can catch up. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good to see you. I don't know how long it's going to take for YouTube to analyze what we're sending, but we'll see how it goes. We shall see. What happened to my camera here? It's like all super low. Whoa! Whoa! All right, there we go. Now we got something going on. Anyhow, welcome to the Friday show. We didn't have a Wednesday show. Sorry, if anybody's watching on YouTube, I had a hair sticking up there, and that will definitely drive me nuts in the monitor over there. So there we go. All right. Anyhow, well, those of you that follow the show here know what's going on. We oftentimes, not often. Sorry, not often. No, let me backpedal here. Oftentimes, I broadcast and do a show here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The main topic that we speak about on this show is fish tanks and planet aquariums, fish stuff, and things like that. Every once in a while, I go on to weird side tangents and talk about other things that are going on in the world news, typically something to do with like a movie or comic books or something like that every once in a while, because I'm kind of a super nerd and I'll freak out about things like Game of Thrones, and that's just how it goes. Yes, this is a show with just me talking into a microphone with videos and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we did not have a show on Wednesday, and my apologies to you all. My apologies to you all, but as I've spoke at length about the potential of a Makerspace, which is still in the works, we shall see how it goes. I will not be able to be doing a Wednesday show for a little while. So I'm always sad to make an announcement like that, but reality is, it's going to cost more money to get a Makerspace going than I think I initially thought. And I thought it was something that I was just going to be able to do all willy-nilly and get it going. Unfortunately, I live in a part of the world that is quite expensive. And yes, in the next couple of years, we do plan to move away from here to somewhere that is more affordable. But in the meantime, that doesn't mean I can throw all of the plans and things we got going into the old dumpster. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep rocking and rolling with the plans that we can, because we can't really relocate to any new areas yet. But yes, at some point in time, we do plan to move to like Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, Budapest, New Zealand. I don't know. We're going to move because it is incredibly expensive to live in the part of the world that we do here. And so the Makerspace was a little more expensive than I thought it was going to be to get it kicked off and get it started. But as you guys know, I do own my own little construction company. We've booked some more jobs. We've booked some stuff. It's summertime, so that kind of stuff does come up. If you can get those gigs, you got to get them when you can, because ain't nobody doing that when the snow out there on the ground. Well, it's not that people aren't willing to work. People are willing to work. It's no one wants to hire anybody to be out there working in the snow. You know what I mean? So, I've picked up some jobs, so we're probably not going to be doing Wednesday shows here for a while. So anybody in the middle of the week, tell you what, I'm going to do my best to see what I can do about getting pre-recorded stuff out. But, I always have to hit the arrow here because it puts emphasis on what I'm talking about. We got that little baby peanut right there. So every time I try to do something more outlandish, it doesn't incur. What was that word I was trying to say there? I don't know. It does incur a little more out of the old pocket, because I have to have somebody watch this little baby right here, the sweetest baby in the world, Olivia, who, I have to tell you, she cried for a good solid 2 hours straight this morning. And this guy right here was super stressed out. This guy right here had super stressed out face because Olivia was upset, and I have still in this day, I have no idea why she was super upset, but she was just not having it this morning. She would be like, she was back and forth. And she said, "Oh, I'm happy for a minute," and then just, freaking out. So either way, she's still too young to leave here by herself. And the unfortunate thing is, we keep trying to find, we didn't want to put her in a daycare until she was a year old. We didn't want to put her in a daycare until she was a year old because, well, I don't know, just a multitude of reasons. I guess it doesn't matter. We didn't want to put her in a daycare until she was at least a year old. And, but then we were like, Vicky's super busy. I'm super busy. There's a lot of stuff going on during the day. So we were like, all right, let's see what goes on. And it turns out like putting her into daycare would be cheaper than having a sitter. So we were like, okay, I guess we'll just have to bite the bullet and go the daycare route. So we toured a facility like last week, and we're like, okay, this isn't bad. And then they didn't have any spots open. So then we went to go look at some other locations, and then it was like, okay, but they didn't have any spots open either. And then they didn't have any other spots open. And so there's just no daycare spots available. And to those of you that have been following the show for a long time know that her grandma, my mother, was watching her 2 days a week while I was out working. I'd drive up to my mom's place, and she would watch her all day while I worked, and then I'd pick her up on the way home, which was like a 16-hour day. So, a long day, but that's fine. And but my mother, Olivia's grandmother, is moving back to Central Washington. So now we don't have that care 2 days a week, and we're kind of doing the math, and so it's sort of a bite the bullet kind of time right now, and we're just gonna have to do what we got to do. And there's not any daycare spots open at an actual place that we would trust. I mean, I think there might be some weird like private daycares or I don't know. Regardless of that, the like 5 locations that we were trying to get her into, we can't get her into until September. So that's the whole entire summer. But I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. And, so it's just one of those weird deals where it's like, all right, I'm going to work some extra days out in the field. And then that means we got to hire people, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people are saying that Olivia is teething, which may or may not be accurate. I've checked her mouth. Doesn't seem like anything. Doesn't seem like she has any teeth coming in. But, she has like nothing in her gums is like red or puffy. She does chew on stuff for sure, like crazy. So it could be a conjunction with that. But I think Barbara Jackson is close. I think she might have had digestive issues. She was farting a lot this morning. So that definitely probably could have been it. Because I fed her breakfast, which is just this like rice cereal stuff, which is like annihilated rice, and then you mix that with breast milk and then spoon feed it. She likes that a lot. She hates fruit. She's kind of a wild baby. She hates fruit, but, that's the deal. And so, it could have just been the farts and stuff that were bugging her this morning, but she was like way crying. Gold Eye 666 Hellfish. That's daycares didn't have any spots where I live. No, they just all of the daycare places are to capacity. So we basically have to wait until September because they're like, well, if you give us money now, we'll hold you a spot for when September comes around and these kids all get older and go into the next phase of their daycare preschooling thing, and then there'll be some openings, right? So basically, like, these kids age out and go into another spot, and then the spaces open up. But we have to give them money in order to hold those spots. Buffalo Rose says, give her a drill and put her to work. That day will come. We're not at that point yet. She doesn't even know what a drill is. So we're not at that point yet. She's... How old is she now? She's like 6.5 months, So there's some time. But speaking of fish people and stuff like that, I do have to admit, I do look forward to the day where it'll be... If you guys don't know who Heiko Blair is, that's definitely one of my heroes. And that guy... I think his daughter's about 10 now. I think she's about 10 now. But she goes to all the conventions with him. They go out on collecting trips and stuff together and all that. I do look forward to the day that Olivia is old enough to start doing some of that. I think she's a little young at this point. I wouldn't want her to get like eaten by a cobra. I mean, I know that cobras just bite people, but you get what I'm saying. I wouldn't want her to get what are those giant tarantulas? The ones that eat birds? I don't know what those are called. Probably like a bird tarantula. I don't know. I wouldn't want her to get bit by one of those or something. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in like the high mountains of Peru and be like, my baby got bit by a spider. Like it's just not a good look. It's not a good look, And she wouldn't even be able to tell me that she got bit by a spider. She would just be crying a lot while I have a really concerned and confused look on my face, like, I want to fix you, but I don't know what's broken. Who is it said she was constipated? Ricardo, who, by the way, became a Patreon right before the beginning of the show. Which, as you guys know, in the Friday format... We answer the Patreon questions on Friday from the community tab on the Patreon page. That's mainly what we do. Oh my gosh, Vicky sent me 900 emails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 emails. Woo! From Vicky Toria, a.k.a. my weekend life. But either way, like I was saying, Ricardo Santiago said she might be constipated. He just became a Patreon right before the beginning of the right before the beginning of the show. Thank you very much. Hats off. But on Fridays, we answer the Patreon questions. We'll get to those shortly. FishTube is wondering, what clove oil can you use for euthanizing? I've never used clove oil. I mean, okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I used clove oil a long time ago, and I did not think it worked out very well. Nowadays, I just use ice and ice water. It's a tendency to just send tropical fish into a coma, and I think it's kind of the more humane way of going about it. If you have to euthanize a fish for whatever miscellaneous reasons, I just would put them in a glass of ice baby and go that route. Jesse DeShields is wondering if you missed the chlorophyll giveaway. You did not miss the giveaway. Those of you that actually watched Monday's show know that I'm giving away 2 boxes of goodies. And if you watch the Monday show, you can figure out how to get some of that action. And no, I have not done the drawing yet because I do plan on not doing the drawing live so that I can contact the winners before we announce them on the show. If that makes sense. Because I have been down the road of like giving an announcement and getting fake emails from people. So hopefully y'all, whoever wins has contact information on their YouTube page, and I'll be able to contact you. Hopefully you have a valid email on your home screen, and that seems like going to be the best way to go about it. I assume, because that's how I've done it a long time ago. It's been a while since I've done a giveaway, so, but I'm going to put all of the entrants into a randomizer, and we'll go that route. And I'll make I think I'll probably make a little short video, maybe announcing it ahead of time, maybe. And my chat is going crazy, so I'm going to have to reload it here real quick. Because I have the pop-out chat, and it's not working. And we got a super chat and a new member. And it's not registering on the pop-out chat properly, and I don't know why. But there we go. Now it's working. We got a new member, which is something to do about nothing. Which is an amazing literary reference. Let me look up. Who did Much Ado About Nothing? Who did that? Much Ado About Nothing, British American. Oh, was that just a TV show? I thought that was a book. William Shakespeare. Okay. I feel like an idiot sometimes when I'm live trying to figure out what I'm saying. But yeah, Much Ado About Nothing, William Shakespeare. It's a good spin on that. Something to do about nothing. Anyhow, with the $10 super chat and a membership, jeez, just doubling down. Well, thanks. I appreciate the support. Says, I need some rummy nose advice. Half die on me during quarantine. Water's perfect. Temperature around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I am at a loss on how to keep these things alive. Do you have any tips? Anyhow, love the content, and here's a little something. Well, thank you. I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Definitely appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. Now, as far as the rummy nose tetra go, most of them, so there's 3 species that are easily identified as rummy nose tetras. It turns out there's 3 different species. They all kind of live in the same area too. So they're normally collected in the wild. One of the weird things about the rummy nose, you get them from the wild. They've just been captured from the wild and, put into a container, sent and shipped and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. They're going to be really, really stressed out. Now, 50% of them dying off does seem like a lot. That seems pretty high. But when we do get rummy nose tetras in, we do expect some of them to not make it. It just really is the nature of how kind of things go with wild caught small fish like that are, they are on the cheaper side. You realistically got to get down to that, and then start to think about, okay, well, how much respect are these really getting? Like, how much real care are they getting? And they are a wild fish. And more often than not, people are not necessarily on point with their water as far as where the rummy nose come from. And, it's one of those things that I had the opportunity to be in Germany, and Heiko Blair actually brought, we're going to talk about Heiko twice today, but he actually brought a whole biotope setup that he basically had a 240-gallon aquarium with basically the same aquarium that I have, and he had put a bunch of rummy nose tetras essentially in it. He had all 3 varietals in there, so a little bit different than mine. But he it was kind of funny because all of the stuff that he had brought with the fish was from where he caught the fish. So the substrate, the plants, the driftwood, the rocks, all that stuff was brought from right exactly where he caught the fish. It was a really cool display, and it made a lot of sense. And the fact that it wasn't scaped all super fancy or anything like that. It was put together well. But one of the interesting things is that rummy nose do need a good amount of kind of tannins in the water. They need some softer water. 80 degrees does sound good as far as temperature goes, but I am interested in what you got going on with the hardness of your water. If you do have a pretty tannin-rich environment for them, they do need kind of pretty specific stuff in the way of, if you're wanting to try and get a higher percentage of survival. But I hate to put it this way, but I think if you're getting them in and you're putting them into quarantine and half of them are making it through quarantine, it kind of sucks. But I would almost just say, like, order double that what you really need and try and just kind of keep going with what you're going. And then on the back end, the good side of it could be that hopefully the good ones that make it through quarantine, they live in your system. Maybe you could start breeding them and doing some aquaculture stuff with them, and hopefully, reproduce, pass on the genetics, the stronger genetics, and then pass on some of those aquacultured fish to other people. I mean, like I said, it's like it's cold-blooded, but yeah, I mean, I think that's what I would do. Something to do about nothing says it's the Blair Eye, which is Heiko's identified fish. And they're advertised as captive bred. Okay, that makes me wonder what's going on, because if they're, if you're talking about the rummy nose, and they actually are captive bred, I would be expecting a much higher survival rate from aquacultured fish. And those that are wondering what aquacultured means, born bred. Whoa, sneeze came out of nowhere. Born, bred, and raised in an aquarium is what aquacultured means. Aquacultured. And so that would make me wonder, like, what's going on with the supplier. Maybe I would see what is going on with the supplier's water, like how different it is compared to your water. Oh man, we got another new member. We got UG Aquatics. Oh man. Well, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. You could be from $1 a month over at Patreon, or you could become a member over here. I know it's super confusing if you guys are on iPhone to become a member. Like, it's super hard to find the button to get redirected to actually become a member if you want. But being a member is $5 a month that you're going to give to YouTube. If you're somebody who's like, yeah, it's worth $1, maybe pop over to Patreon. and you could be like $1 a month person over there. Or you could just, like, I guess, super chat $1. I don't know, whatever. It's just all ways that you guys can support if you like. And somebody just recently was asking me again, because it's one of the more common emails I get, was like, what would you rather people do? Would you rather people be a member on YouTube? Would you rather people be on Patreon? Would you rather people use links from, like, our sponsor, Aquarium Co-op? And my thing is I literally just put all the avenues there that if people want to support, it's the easiest way. Like, whatever is the easiest way for you guys, cool. Or you don't have to, you know. You can if you want. You don't have to. It's just all those things. Whichever one is easiest for you. I would say personally that if I had to have an opinion, I would say that the biggest value is probably Patreon, right? Now, when chat gets super busy, like on YouTube, if the chat gets super busy and slow mode gets triggered, the members don't get slow mode. They don't get they get a couple other things. You get some emojis and stuff like that, which actually I'm working on some emojis. So when I have new people on the show, you guys will be able to post the emojis of the people that are on the show. Does that seem weird? It's fun. It's going to be fun. And some of the people on Patreon have seen some of those. You guys will get you guys get previews and stuff. But it's just realistically, like, whichever works best for you. But I think realistically, as Ricardo says, he says, do both YouTube and Patreon. You know how it is. If you can, you can. If you can't, it's not a big deal. Mad props to the people that support for sure. But I feel like Patreon's like the biggest value, I think, because there's a community there where you can post stuff, you can post pictures, you get big time shout outs and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's a reality. GK Aquatic says, I can't believe I wasn't already subscribed. I am now, and to hit the like button. Well, thanks, GK. I have noticed personally that YouTube will like unsubscribe from certain channels and stuff like that. Like Oddball Aquatics, like I was literally like on her stream the other day and I was like, why am I not subscribed? I know that's somebody I've specifically subscribed to and had to click that button. Like, I know that's at least the second time I've had to do it for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why some of that stuff even bothers to do it. Or why that happens, or why it's weird. It's just bizarre. UG says, can we have a brownie ghost bucephalandra emoji? Possibly, if that's something that I could make. It's really the question about whether or not I can make it, and then YouTube will let me actually like upload it. Because regarding the like how many members we have is how many emojis we're allowed to have. It's weird. So it's how many members we're allowed to, how many members we have is how many emojis I can upload in there, and how many badges we can put up in there, and a few other things like stuff, like more features turn on that I'm able to do, right? I'm able to do more features with the membership thing when it has a higher amount of members, which I think is kind of weird, but you know. Well, FishTube says dead accounts and dormant accounts where you don't go for some time get removed. Yeah, but I'm still subscribed to channels that I subscribed to like 10 years ago. Like Critical. I don't know if anybody out there knows who Critical is. Don't go over to his channel right now if you're somebody who doesn't like swearing and stuff, because he swears nonstop in his videos. But like I subscribed to Critical like 10 years ago, and I'm still subscribed to him. I've never been unsubscribed to that specific channel. So if it was just a like time thing, and I literally hadn't watched any of his videos in like some amount of years, like it's been a couple of years, and so I've been going through his backlog, just listening to his nonsense while I've been working, and Like, I literally have not watched any of his videos in a couple of years. So if that was the case, then I should be unsubscribed to that channel. So, you know, to really explain it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let's see. Shelby. Throw a steak on. I'm craving steak. Who doesn't like steak? Steak's delicious. Oh, Anthony's here. What's up, Anthony? Take time. Reaver's got to take the kids out for an adventure. Catch the rest of the stream later. All right, man. Dig it. Tyler Clinkscales with a $5 super chat says, Happy Memorial Weekend. I went to my first Fish Club meeting yesterday. Thought it was awesome. Wondering if you go to any monthly meetings. You the man. Well, I don't know if I'm the man. I am a man. I'm trying to help you guys out the best I can and make jokes about farts and all sorts of stuff too. But I don't normally go to the monthly Greater Seattle Aquarium Society meeting because it's in a really weird, difficult location for me to get to, and I would like have to reschedule work. And that's not great to be doing on a regular basis, like once a month. And doesn't, you know, it just, the scheduled time is like super weird because it's on a Tuesday at like 6 o'clock. You know, and especially over the last 6 months, if I was going up there, to the GSAS, I would have to figure out how to get this baby back home because I was taking her to grandma's house and then I'd pick her up from grandma's house on the way home. So if I was up north, then I'd have to like figure out how to get Olivia home. You know, it just wasn't working out. And they've always done Tuesday. Like for whatever reason, they really like the meeting to be on Tuesday. And that just schedule-wise does not work well for me, like at all. And, but here's what's crazy. Vicky and myself, we will be heading down to Eugene, Oregon on Saturday, June 1st to go to the Willamette Valley Aquarium Society 1-year anniversary meeting and party. We shall be there for that. We're going to that. So anybody that happens to be in Oregon on June 1st, I will be in Oregon on June 1st, and we'll be at the club meeting there at the Willamette Valley Aquarium Society. So, yeah, we'll be at that one. I guess I mean, it's June 1st, so does it count for May? I think we went, you know, because I went to the AGA in May. So let's call the AGA my meeting of the month for the month of May, and then June 1st I'll be at Willamette Valley for June. So I guess that'll count for June? I don't know, maybe. I certainly haven't booked a whole bunch of trips or anything like that. And I don't even know if I'm going to go to any more conventions this year. I haven't planned on it. Oh, the Biddy brown dog is in here just snoring. Biddy, are you snoring? Brown dog. This dog is down here just snoring all super loud. That's hilarious. Sorry. We got sidebarred there. 54 Punchy said, you said Willamette. Willamette. Willamette or Willamette? Willamette will be at the Willamette Valley Aquarium Society on June 1st. Which what I was talking about is like, I don't know if I'm going to be going to any conventions this year. I don't even know if I'm going to go to Aquatic Experience this year. I went last year, and it was kind of a bummer. People wanted me to go to Aquashella, but I don't know. It seems like it's going to cost a lot of money again. And I don't know. So I don't think I'm going to be going to any conventions. Corey just got back from Israel, and I didn't get invited to go to Israel. So that's kind of a bummer. But I did talk to Corey for a minute. Like, they're going to Peru to catch fish again this year. So I don't know. I might try to go to that. But I think that I think what Vicky and I are going to focus on is probably trying to go to New Zealand or Australia or something like that. Like, I think that's kind of where our head's at. But we were looking at that flight. That flight is even longer than going to Germany. I think the flight to Germany was like 18 hours, 16 hours. I don't know. But the flight to New Zealand is like 20-something hours. Which is, admittedly, a long time on an airplane in coach. You know what I mean? Just hanging out there in coach, being like, oh, man, I'm deep in the heart of this plane. Oh! But, yeah, I don't know that I'm going to be going to any of the conventions this year. I think for the main reason is that it's just going to cost a lot of money. And like I said earlier in the show, I've been building the studio downstairs to hopefully be getting more guests on the show and stuff like that, and working on some different content for the future. And I'm just going to keep working on the Makerspace, which hopefully you guys are excited for that too. And so I'm just going to keep working on that stuff. And I think realistically, like, if I was going to spend $1,500 to go to a convention, which it's $1,200 to go to like a convention, I think that's a lot of money towards doing those projects and stuff, which I think ultimately is going to be a lot more return for people that are watching on YouTube and stuff like that would be able to make a lot more content and put that stuff towards those projects instead of going to a convention and being away from my family. That stuff's hard. It ain't easy. And I got a baby that I can't explain it to, that I'm just going to be gone, Crash says, how many nationality following you? I don't know. That I do not know. I do know that the top 10 are the USA, Canada, Australia, the UK, New Zealand, the Netherlands, Germany, and then like a couple other. I would probably have to look for the couple other. I can't remember exactly. Let me see. Let me go into analytics and see if I can actually find it on the new analytics. But there's like reach viewer. I wonder if there's like where that is in the new analytics. Traffic source. Where'd it go? Yeah, it's in there somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, I'd have to look it up. And I'm not sure where it is. Oh, top countries. Here they are. Took just a second. So we got to go geographical. Here we go. United States, number 1. By far. By far, a lot more Americans. So let's see. 50%. 52% are the United States. Ooh, and coming in at number 2. I did not expect this, you guys. The United Kingdom. The UK came in number 2 at 6.8%. Oh, I didn't expect that. Because they have passed Canada. Canada, right next door, has been passed by the United Kingdom, which is interesting. Then, the next on the list, coming in at number 4, is Australia, which is pretty cool. I dig that. Then Germany at number 5. Number 6 would be Sweden. 7 is the Netherlands. 8 is India. 9 is the Philippines. 10 is Indonesia. 11 Singapore. Then Brazil, Malaysia, South Africa, Poland, France, Romania, and then New Zealand. New Zealand is higher. Denmark, it seems like we have one viewer in Denmark down here. Maybe one or two. Mexico coming in pretty good with a strong showing. Italy, Spain, Finland, Norway, Portugal, Austria, Czechia. Chechnya? Is that Chechnya or Czechia? I'm unsure on that one. United Arab Emirates, Turkey, Israel, Vietnam, Russia. Wow. How are people watching this in Russia? We shouldn't even be allowed to be viewed in Russia. I wonder if China shows up on here too. Afghanistan, 0 views. I don't know why Afghanistan's on there if it's 0 views. It's all the way down at the bottom. Saudi Arabia, Slovakia, Slovenia, Nepal, Sri Lanka. Looks like we have 1 viewer in Sri Lanka. Maybe 2 in Hungary, 1 in Georgia. But as far as the views go, I don't get a ton of views on my channel because I do a lot of long format stuff, so I don't get a whole bunch of the clickbait nonsense views of like 30-second videos and stuff like that. Because I do a lot of long format. So out of like that, just to give you an idea, out of 80,000 views on there, Slovenia has 10. But Italy has 330, the UK has 5,000, Canada 4,000, Australia 3,000, Germany 2,000, stuff like that. So not a ton, but it really just, to me, like, I've kind of changed exactly what I'm doing as far as YouTube goes, like, in the fact that, and it was kind of funny because Corey and I were talking about this the other day. He was like, what's your plan here? What are you doing? Because I was like, I'm going to be changing a little bit. I'm going to be changing just a little bit as far as things go because I'm going to step away a little bit from trying to audience build with air quotes around it. I feel like if people wander in the room, basically, and they're like, hey, this is a thing I'm interested in, cool, then welcome to the club. But I basically look at this way 100%. Like, I probably have about 2,000 people that are really interested in what's going on this channel out of, like, 25,000 subscribers, something like that. And I'm just realistically want to keep doing stuff with the 2,000 people that are like into talking about fish tanks or listening in or engaging in the conversation and doing whatever. Like, that's just all I'm focusing on. I'm just focusing on the people that are already here. And if some other people come in, awesome, more the merrier. It's all good. But I literally, I'm just kind of over the idea of like, I'm going to get to 1 million subscribers and I'm not going to know anybody or any of that kind of stuff. I'm just focused on, people that are like really here and they're I know who the representation is and stuff like that. So, I would rather have an engaged group than a gigantic group that is more interested in, like, I threw M80s in my fish tank. I bought piranhas and put them in a 5-gallon aquarium, stuff like that. I don't care. I'm not going to go do behind the scenes, Petco. Like, I'm going to reveal that Petco sucks at taking care of fish. Like, yeah, we already know that. I don't even know why anybody needs to make a video about that. Like, walk in there, look at the fish. They're not doing well. The tanks are garbage. T Riddle says quality over quantity. No, I literally, I guess it's more like I would rather engage with the people that are engaged with me. You know what I mean? It's like Robert the Butcher, sent me an email. We have a little bit of a conversation going back and forth. I got about a halfway through having written an email back to him today, and I'll finish the rest off and send it to him. But like, that's a perfect example. Like, sent me an email. We've been kind of chatting back and forth and stuff like that. Those are people I'd rather engage with. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like what I'm all about. Like, that's what I'd like to do. So whereas I'm going to continue increasing what I would consider the quality of what I'm doing, I'm still going to be doing a lot of stuff, but I literally, you know, like, we already have like a fan base and stuff, and I'm just going to keep doing for you guys and stuff, like answering your guys' questions and stuff. You know? So, like, that's just kind of what I'm about. Like, people that have been here for a really long time, like Karen Pepe, Cheshire Cat, Candy Overhauls, perfect example, 54 Punchy, like basically all the people that are in the chat right now chatting. And, you know, if you guys have a question or something like that, like, I'm going to answer it, you know, whereas, you know, random McRandomton that I've never heard of before. So, you know, that's the kind of thing. Buffalo Roast is conversation, talking with us rather than at us type of thing. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Yeah, it's just one of those things like, you know, that's my goal here. My goal here is just to build a relationship and help build a community and stuff. And, like, if we don't, like, follow through on actually building a community, then we're just, like, a bunch of weirdos, like, yelling into the dark. Like, just, I don't know. And that's bizarre to me. So we got the analytics open here. Oh, yesterday was not good. Oh, no, May 23rd was not good. Oh, well, whatever. Who cares? Everybody wants to make clickbait and get AdSense money, and I don't really care, honestly. We have so much... And to be honest with you, like, I can make that... I can literally make that decision because there's so many people that have been super generous to support this channel, right? Like, and like what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do and the projects that we're trying to build and stuff like that. So I get it that there's a lot of people out there that might be like, they might get angry or cranky or fussy or whatever, like get a little a bee in their bonnet, you know. But I feel like we have like a good position here to like just be like, all right, yeah, we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing, and so I'm gonna do that. And I feel like I made that like overly long-winded, and I don't really think it needed to be that long. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up our posts from... Oh, my email notification thing is freaking out because Vicky keeps emailing me. I'm not going to email her back. Never. I'm never going to email my bride back, or my future bride. She's not my current bride. We never did get married. Where is this thing? Oh, man, I can't remember what scene it is. Is it this one? Nope. It's this one. Ha ha! We got it wrong on the first try, but we got it right on the second try. Okay, so speaking of engaging with you guys, let's talk about what's going on at the Patreon. And we got a post from Paid in Full, a.k.a. Preston John, a.k.a. Fancy Pants Pufferman McGee. Oh, that's one of the few trips I want to go on. Hopefully, which it looks like I'll hopefully be able to get down there and film some at Preston's place at some point. We literally have to figure out some dates because I think I have an extra... I think I might have a companion fare that maybe Vicky can come along. I don't know. We're going to figure that out. We might have a companion fare or something. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure it out. The plane tickets to go down to Phoenix... I'm saying Phoenix. I don't remember if Preston lives exactly in Phoenix, but you guys get what I'm saying. Arizona. Aren't that bad. Those tickets aren't that bad. And Vicky was almost like, should we drive down? And I was like, you crazy. But maybe we will. Maybe we'll just drive down there. That might be a wild trip. I don't know. We'll see. I wonder if I could like... I could probably fix the truck a little bit, and maybe we could just drive down there. We might be able to road trip that. I don't know. We'll see. Anyhow, Jessica Taylor gave us a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Jessica. 100% appreciate it. UG Aquatic says, would love to have a buddy to talk super duper rare aquatic plants. I have a buddy like that. His name is Bentley Pascal, and he'll be coming on the show. He'll be coming on. We have a big plan in the works of what we're doing. And I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but we hope, beyond hope, to be doing... we hope to be doing a weekly show. I don't know if it's going to be a weekly show, but we're probably like a bi-weekly would be a better assumption at this point. Ricardo says, what happened to one of the puffers? Last stream you mentioned it had one pass. Yeah, if anybody ever watched the giant bulbitis that I pulled out of the 240, one of the puffers was stuck inside of what I assume was tangled up in the bulbitis one way or another. And it literally like was just on the floor. You know, because I pulled out that bulbitis and I like bagged it up. And then I left the fish room for like 3 or 4 hours, came back. One of the puffers was right down there on the floor, just dried out, still moving, and you know I got him moved into a little tiny tank, and then you know hoped for the best, but just too dried out, didn't make it, died, which is sad because it was like. You know, how did your fish die? Well, you know, it's a mystery, but turns out if they're on the floor for a couple hours, not in the water, they won't make it. Which doesn't seem like a mystery. You know what I mean? So at least it wasn't like some kind of crazy fungal thing or something, bacteria or some kind of crazy thing like that. It's literally like don't throw your fish on the floor and they'll probably be okay. Yeah. So it really sucked, and I just kind of went around kicking myself for a little while for having done that. But it was a legitimate mistake. So yeah, just sucks. Just sucks when you know you make a mistake and that poor little puffer didn't make it, which is sad. But there's no way that the puffer will ever forgive me, but I'm pretty sure when I talked to Preston about it, he was like, it's okay, everybody makes mistakes. And I was like, you're right. And then we hugged and we cried a little bit, but it's okay. You know, he's a fish. What do we got going on in the chat? Oh, $2 super chat from 54 Punchy says she's lost fish that way. It sucks. Yeah, it does suck. I mean, it really was just like, it's unfortunate. Wasn't a good move. Wasn't a real smart move from old Slick Pants McGee over here. Like, check me out, being fancy. Whoops. Let's see what we got going here in the chat. Spadoinkle can't find moss locally. Luckily, moss is actually really easy to ship, so that one should not be that big of a deal. But if you are looking for some mosses, I know that last time I was at Aquarium Co-op, they are getting in some cool mosses on stainless steel. Fizzanence moss, some other things that's coming in on stainless steel. I'm not sure what's there right now, but those ones were coming in, like coral moss. Ooh, I'm telling you. I don't know how much I promoted you guys to check out that coral moss. It's a really cool moss, you know, up at the Aquarium Co-op. And yeah, Spadoinkle just lives in Olympia, but here's the crazy thing. The crazy thing is, you could get shipped from Aquarium Co-op to Olympia. I tell you this much, it's way easier than driving up to Edmonds. Driving from Olympia to Edmonds is probably take 900 hours. I bet the post office will probably beat you. Like if you ordered it and had it shipped down. It's almost a race of who would be able to get it faster. And they'd have to like package it up and get it all shipped out. But I bet you if you put it in the morning, like if you put it in this morning, the order, it would probably show up tomorrow morning from Edmonds to Olympia, I would think. Let's see. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Barbara McDaniel just got finished bottling honey. Man, it's hot today. Dude, you guys, it was hot yesterday and the day before. I was out in the field working the last 2 days, and of course it was like 80 degrees out, super hot. I guess that's not super hot, but relative to how warm it's been. But it was, just all of a sudden it's 80 degrees out. It goes from like 55 degrees out to 80 degrees out the next day. Sunny, 80 degrees. And then now today, raining and 57 degrees. Just straight up, the day that I'm here working, it's not nice out, which is a drag. But that's life. Anyhow, Preston's showing us a little shot here of the Salt River, 11 minutes from the fish room. Wonderful out there. Now, I'll tell you this much. I do want to go out there and take some action shots if I go visit Preston because these rocks are amazing. And, if you're in those parts of Arizona where you actually got some water, you got a little bit of greenery, like I get it. It's not going to be like it is up here. You're not going to be everything green. But if you're by a little bit of water, you got a good water source and that kind of stuff, and there is some green going on, I could deal with it. But there's no way I could deal with the Arizona summer. It's just mind-bending. Like, I spent enough time in the eastern Washington summers, which are equatable, like it's 120 degrees often over there, high plains, desert, and all that stuff. I dealt with enough of that I could, but Arizona, it just goes on for like 100 months in a row. And then it cools down to like 50 degrees for one day, and they're like, oh my God, it's winter, and then it's over, and then you're back to a billion degrees. So it'd be fun to visit. I don't think I could live there, though. It would drive me nuts. Everything being dry and dusty. Always, always, always dry and dusty. Barbara, a.k.a. Alanasuki, says, I noticed this random bulb sitting on top of my Anubias, took a closer look, and realized it's from my Tiger Lotus. Does this mean my Lotus is going to stop growing and die? Do I need to start looking at getting a new one? The Lotus does seem to have new roots and leaves so far. Haven't started rotting or anything. Should I try to replant the bulb or just throw it out? Well, typically on a Lotus like this, the bulb is actually just the casing so that it basically has an opportunity to get through the winter and stuff like that. So it's not uncommon for it to end up just kind of being sloughed off. It's not that big of a deal. So I wouldn't be stressed out. Personally, if the bulb was out here floating around and your Lotus was rooted like it is in this picture right here, let me grab the arrow. So you can see how it's rooted right here. I would just move this portion down towards the substrate, like plant the roots and just let it be planted like that. And this bulb is most likely just an empty carcass, from the bulb, from when it was being moved around and hibernating and waiting for an opportunity to get some water. Why it ended up landing on the Anubias, I don't know, but it is, I guess I could see, like, if I was confused by that, it probably would stand out to me also in that fashion of being like, what is going on with my Anubias? Would probably have drawn my eye over there, and then I'd have been all like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then been like, what is going on here? And then realize it's from the Tiger Lotus. But the Tiger Lotus in this instance right here, where it's growing, it's got these roots and stuff, don't need the bulb anymore. So I would just go ahead and plant it and expect that thing to go kind of buck wild, because I can see that you do have the new leaves you know, the nice converted leaves to your tank and stuff, and then this thing's probably going to start growing a little bit crazy. But remember to add a little bit of fertilizer and just keep going, and you're going to do real well. Jason Rayburn, who has shared a picture here, which I will tell you, he probably doesn't realize the thing that I find most impressive from this picture right here, and that is that in the background here, you can actually see the dust collector, which I think he mentions in the post. I don't want to put anything in there that he didn't mention, but I think he mentions it in the post here. Anyhow, let's read what he sent in. After some consideration, I decided to share this despite it not being directly fish related, but I think it falls firmly into the contraption category of Joel's Patreon page. This is the new enclosure for my CNC machine pictured in the middle of the shelf, which let's kind of scroll up here a little bit and we can take a look at that right in here. CNC machine action, which is important, I think, for pretty much anybody in the fish tankery, you know, making weird little things. Probably consider getting into the CNC machine if you're into making your own little doodads and things like that for your fish tank. Anyhow, let's get back here. So, pictured in the middle of the shelf, it will be wrapped in drywall, have electrical wired up, and insulated for sound dampening as it gets a tad loud with certain materials, which I agree with that. It'll also be set up to connect to the dust collection system. There it is. That leads to that beast behind it, which is funny because I just assembled and set up, I think, this exact same dust collector. I mean, it looks very similar, but I'm saying I think I just set up this dust collector the other day, and I'm very happy with it so far. Saving me sneezing and dying from wood dust recently. CNC stands for Computer Numerical Control, which simply means that a design on a computer is translated into numbers which correspond to coordinates and directs the machine how to cut material secured to the surface. The top shelf is for later when I cobble together a 3D printer, and the bottom shelf is for computers. What's it for? Well, I've used it from everything from signs to parts prototyping. For fish, think custom-sized acrylic tanks, 3D backgrounds, cave designs, overflow boxes, part replacements, etc. Anyway, this community is awesome, and I thought I'd share some of what else I do and what the other half of the garage is for. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Hope you guys have a great day. This is awesome because I'll tell you 100%, like for overflow boxes, baffles in sumps and all that kind of stuff, this is a perfect setup that could definitely help a lot of people to get things done that is really difficult to do by hand. I mean, you're talking about like cutting the teeth out on acrylic and things like that. It is really hard to do by hand, and this can not necessarily make light work, but it can make proper, exquisitely straight cuts and things like that, which is totally rad. So, yeah, thank you for sharing this, Jason. I really appreciate it. I feel like I may have pushed aside the awesomeness of your CNC machine because I started talking about the dust collector, but I literally had to mess around with the dust collector today, and I'm super happy, or not today, but this week, and I'm super happy with how well it's worked out. So I feel like I'll share a little bit of my story with you guys, you know. But I like this rack. It's a nice little rack. I don't know why you would add drywall to it other than sound. But I think personally I would just wrap it in plywood because the drywall will probably get screwed up from all the vibration. But, you know, to each his own, and maybe the drywall is going to be dope and you're going to love it. I don't know. We go moving on to the fish keeperist, who was nice enough to post the fish keeperist, his YouTube channel, that you guys will be able to go pop over and be like, what's going on with the old fish keeperist here, and see the actual video of this tank, which I always, it's always nice if I get to hear you guys' voice, see your, see what's actually going on, and see what you know, see actual video from you guys. I love it. I love getting an opportunity to check out a video from you guys and stuff. I liked the video. It was definitely reminiscent of some of my old school stuff. just hanging out behind the camera and letting you guys know what's going on and giving you some shots and seeing what's happening. And I appreciate it. I really do. So, Fishkeeper has got a good deal for this 8-gallon Nano tank on OfferUp. Love the Nano tanks. Can't wait to see it can't wait to set it up. Did a little review on my channels if you guys want to check it out. So, whenever you got a couple of free minutes, head over to the old Fishkeeper's channel there and check out that little tank setup. Those of you who've been following me for a really long time, this looks like the tank right next to it looks like the Fluval EBI, however you want to say it. It's apparently Japanese for shrimp. And I had a ton of those. I just had a ton of those tanks for a long, long time. So you guys know that I like Nano tanks, and someday I think if we ever get the Makerspace going, I think there's going to be an opportunity to do some Nano tanks there, I think, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to hold my breath on that, but I think there's going to be an opportunity to do some Nano tanks there and hopefully get some things going with that. Drew Overly uses 3D printers for my fish tank doodads. I like that. I got some cool doodads from Jason out in Minnesota, which I still haven't put any, haven't put any of them in the tank yet, but that doesn't mean it's not on my list to do. It is on my list. It's just a little bit low. He made me some cool plant platforms that I should be doing at some point. I don't know when, though. If it was at the top of the list, I'd be like, I'm doing it today. But it's not. Daniel R. sent this in. Hey, Joel/Oceaneers. Took your suggestions and gave it a go. My loaches and cories love hanging around the rock pile, which has calmed them down. Gourami aren't so keen with a few damaged scales from getting stuck, but they are fine, and a learning curve for Daniel. Hope everyone is having a good day and speak to you soon. Yeah, I like this. You sent in your tank. You're asking for some recommendations and stuff. And obviously, I think you're off into the right track. That's for sure. Things seem to be going pretty well. I think the one thing that I am a little bit worried about is this heater being up so high. I think I would move the heater a little bit down low, or make sure that there's really good amount of flow hitting that heater up that high up like that, because it will definitely leave an opportunity for the tank to be really cold down here. So if you have a lot of tropical stuff going on, if you get the heater, at least move down here, or I would just put it in vertically and make sure there's a good amount of flow hitting it. I know a lot of people kind of forget, and me included, I always forgot to make sure that my heater was in a good flow spot, like with the actual water flowing on it, past it, continuing to always have water moving along with it. And a lot of times I forgot to do that, and it's really just I've made that mistake, so maybe help you out. I don't know. Mike Howie, a.k.a. the Fish Tank Barn, sends this in. Just wanted to give a quick update on the garden progress. Still needs a little bit of tidying up, but it's on its way to being complete. Pond is also installed in the back section, just waiting for the weather to warm up, and we put some fish outside, which is awesome, man. I have to say, I'm always pretty... one of the things that I'm really insistent on is... some people have asked over the years, they're sort of like, what's the end game here? And a big part of, personally, my end game, as far as, helping people out and stuff like that, is to encourage almost this exact behavior right here, which is starting a garden, doing a pretty simple build out, incorporating some ponds into it and stuff like that. Because it's not that this is no work. This is work. This is, you got to do some work. It's going to take some stuff, but a little bit of planning, couple of bucks here, couple of bucks there, working on some stuff, adding some, you got some chicken fencing, you got a new door here, just, looks hand-built and stuff, right? So couldn't be that much. It's some lumber, some fasteners, put the posts in the ground, all that kind of stuff. And you know, before you know it, you're going to have like this little ecosystem going on outside, which obviously isn't going to be enough to feed your family, but it definitely is something to feed your family from, right? Like some of the produce that's going to be be grown here, stuff like that. You can actually eat it yourself. You can also teach your kids quite a bit. This is going to be something that, like, once Olivia is big enough to be she's going to be out in the garden as much as possible. We take her out there now when the weather's nice. We have like this little baby bouncer thing that we can put her out there in so that she can hang out while we work in the garden. And I think this is really beneficial in the U.S. You know, it's difficult for me to say, like, what people should be doing in, for instance, like Sri Lanka, right? Like Sri Lanka, if I was like, I'm going to give you advice on what people should be doing there in Sri Lanka, right? And I've never lived in Sri Lanka, so I don't know. I don't really know what should be happening out there. But I can say for sure in the U.S., we do have enough space and resources and things like that to fairly readily put these kinds of things together. And I think that the trade-off in doing the work, the little bit of cost monetarily, it's just really not that much. The reward is so huge compared to, compared to what's the return on investment. The return on investment is monumental compared to, how much goes into it. And I just really think it's important in the U.S. that we start expanding on stuff like this and really start building out, making our property work for us. Most of us do have this little like 1/8 of an acre or, 1/4 acre, stuff like that, that we're all living on. And, we'd be growing stuff like rhododendrons and lawns and things like that. And, this wouldn't even take up that much space, but we don't get a whole lot of return off of growing grass and things like that, but we do get a lot of return off of growing a garden. Fish Tank Barn says the garden part was built for my daughter. She has already gotten into it. Yeah, so there you go. Like it's an awesome family building thing. That's something that the family can do together and stuff like that. And also, it's also something that's going to help support the family. So not only you got healthier people, you got healthier food, you got all sorts of, there's just so many obvious benefits from doing it. Geez, we got a $25 super chat from Jeff Rose, looking for sump advice. 75-gallon sump, 300-gallon aquarium. What pump size, make, and model would you recommend? Which pump? We'll have to change scenes here real quick. Let's go like this. We'll go over to our video. We'll let our video play for a second because I have to open the window over here to go to... where is that? J code. Let's see if we can't find it here. It will take just a minute or two. And obviously, where did it go? It's not the 8,000. Where is it? I think I ordered this a while ago. It wasn't that long ago. Oh, here it is. Let's see. I want to double check if it's the one that I got. We don't want the DCP. We want the DCT, I think. Oh, it's going to take a second while I find it. Let's see. DCT. It should be the DCT. No, that's not it. Nope, I guess the DCP is the new one. Okay. So, let's see here. 20,000. Nope. Here it is. It's the DCP 15,000 marine grade water pump from Jabal. Now, I'll tell you this much. This coupon right here on Amazon takes this pump. There's a $40 off coupon right now on Amazon, and here's the link for it right there. So even if just Jeffro orders this, he's actually going to save $15 even after super chatting $25 because there's apparently a $40 off coupon to your first order only off of that, which this is the pump that runs my 240, and there's tons of space on it. We have installed 3 of these at the Aquarium Co-op. There's a couple more on the shelf. I've installed a couple of these at customers' houses at this size of a tank, like 240s and 300s. And the reality is, like, even at, well, let's see, at $40 off, it's a $92 pump that can run a 300-gallon aquarium. It's adjustable. You can adjust the speed up and down. At $92, that's insane. It's a DC pump, so it uses less electricity than its AC counterparts because it's converting. It's converting the... let's see, I have to go back to this. So it's actually converting from AC to DC. Oops, clicked the wrong button. There we go. And at $92, some people will be like, oh, that pump might break. It's kind of a cheap pump because it's kind of a cheaper brand or whatever. But at that price, you could buy like 6 of them that most people would recommend, like an Ecotech or something like that. And you could have 5 spare ones. So even if you broke 5 of them, you would still be working. This tank would still be working. You wouldn't be doing any kind of warranty returns or any of that kind of stuff. So it legitimately, that's where I see the value. The value really is that, like, it's an adjustable pump. It works really well. And, even if it does break or something like that, you just have a backup, and it should be plenty good to go. It's a quiet pump, doesn't make a lot of noise, and works really well. So there we go. Moving on. Speaking of sumps, our next post has a sump in it. Our next post has a setup in it. And here's what's crazy. So that pump that I posted into the chat there, I think, and let me double check here. Let me double check. I got to go back. Oops. And button. There we go. I have to go back over here for a second. So 3,900 gallons, 3,962 gallons per hour. So it's about 4,000 gallons per hour. And in our post here, we have a Syncra Silent 2.0. Let's go find that real quick. So yeah, the Syncra Silent 2.0 pump at Bulk Reef Supply right now is more expensive at 568 gallons per hour. It's $96.99. So it's $5 more for 3,500 gallons per hour less. So that gives you a good example of, like, the value. So this pump right here, the Syncra Silent 2.0 at 568 gallons, it's a great pump, but it's $100. It's $97 plus tax and shipping and all that kind of stuff. So it gives you an idea. So that pump's only like 568 gallons. So let's just, because we're rounding up the Jabao pump to 4,000, let's round this up to 600 gallons, right? So at $5 cheaper, it does 3,500 or 3,400 gallons more than that pump right there, which is still a good pump. It's a good pump. There's nothing wrong with it, especially if you buy this deal, Cynthia. So YAA Crazy, which, where did my little heart button go? There's my heart, which is, I changed the colors on Patreon, so they're green now, which I feel like is more appropriate. But YAA Crazy sent this in. Cynthia, a.k.a. He says, hey, I don't know much about sumps, but this came up for sale. I saw it in person, and it looks solid. Any input would be appreciated. A 40-gallon breeder drilled with overflow, built on a custom stand, feeding into a 20-gallon long sump with refugium and a bubble trap. eShop's Eclipse S overflow, 1-inch drain plumbing with emergency drain, gate valve, and a drain line to a dual inflow, perfectly for silent operation. 3/4-inch return with check valve, powered by a Synchro Silent 2.0, 568 gallons per hour. It's $100, never used for a bulk reef supply. The plumbing has unions on every bend for easy cleaning, replacement, and modification. Thanks, guys. Now, I would say, Cynthia, this 100% looks like a pretty solid setup. It looks like somebody that pretty much knows what they were doing. Any kind of critiques or anything like that on this actual system, they all kind of fall short. You know, like, this looks like a solid system. It looks like it was up and running. It looks like it's plumbed pretty well. You know, you can tune the overflow and all that stuff for it to work properly. It will actually should run pretty quiet. I can't tell what kind of skimmer that is. It looks like a reasonable skimmer. I can't tell what kind of brand it is, kind of small pictures and stuff. But, you know, the return pump is fairly nice. The plumbing looks pretty good. The tanks are both glass, so they should be in pretty good shape. The background is black. It's not blue, which is good. The stand looks solid, all that kind of stuff. Now, the only concern I would have is what's the price and what's the price range that you wanted to spend, or are you just buying it just because? Because, you know, with a skimmer and all that kind of stuff, like, this thing is pretty well set up. This is set up to be a reef tank, but it would work fairly well for a freshwater Planet aquarium or just a regular old freshwater aquarium. Maybe you got a bunch of cichlids and you want to set it up with that, with some extra water volume, a little more buffering down in the sump and stuff like that. You should be fine. So it looks like a solid setup. I think personally a 40 breeder is worth about $20. The 20 long's probably worth about $20. The plumbing's worth about $20. The stand is probably worth about $50 or something like that, because it's kind of a pain to make them. It takes time. So what are we at? Like 110 plus the pumps and the skimmer and that kind of stuff. I feel like if you go over $200, that's too much. You know? I feel like if you go over $200, you'd be spending too much. But like if this was 150 or even $100 or something like that, I would probably just buy it, because this would be a fun, functional setup that could potentially last you years and years and years and years with no real problem, you know. So should be good. Oh, Jake Hussey is here. What's up, Jake? Good to see you, brother. Twin Cities Guppies is here. What's up? I'm going to check out with the chat. But either way, I think realistically, Cynthia, you'd be in a good spot if you got this for the right price. I mean, I personally feel like if you go way over, if you go way over, you know, that $200 mark, then this probably will be of spending too much, you know, because those 40 breeders and the 20 longs just aren't worth that much money anymore, because they're just mass produced. They go on a $1 per gallon sale, and they're just all over the place, like all the time. We got a shout out to some more of the patronizers today. We had Ricardo Santiago came in first. We had Tim G came in late number 2 also. There we go. Sorry, Tim. Tim G came in. Jeff W came in, and Karen S coming in strong. I appreciate it. Remember, guys, I try not to shout out your full entire name just in case you don't want it on there. So always review your little screen name on there if you do want it to show up a little bit differently, because I know some people, like me, didn't put their screen name up and then they had to leave it forever, and now nobody can really realize that my name is Joel, and they're like, I can't find you on Patreon because you have to put in www.patreon.com/Joel, JOEL_C, and then you'll find me. And then some people find me on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, and I'm happy to you guys know my whole name now. Feels like people are in the club, you know? But we got some new patronizers. Now, we got our fish of the week. If you guys know anything about this channel, we've been doing this Patreon post here for quite a while, and Johan has been showing up and doing a fish of the week basically since we started doing this Friday Patreon focus stuff, which is crazy because Johan owns all these fish. He's always got something awesome like every week to show us. I feel like if there was anybody that I really wanted to like visit, like somebody's houses, Johan is on the list. Now I think I have to go to Europe to visit Johan, but I've gone to Europe to visit fish tanks before, so I'm thinking it couldn't be too out of the realm of this world to think like maybe we'll be able to make it back to Europe at some point in time to visit Johan's house. But I really want to go there because it seems like he's got monster fish, monster aquarium, all that kind of stuff. Just like I said, every week he's got something really cool, and today is no exception. The fish of the week is the Masticembalus armatus, which I have no idea if I'm saying that right. The tire track eel. You know, in America, we always give him a nickname because it's hard to say the Latin stuff. And if you haven't said it a couple times, it's virtually impossible to try and just sound it out as you go along. I'm not a huge eel guy, so I've never really said this before. So, you know. Generally peaceful community fish, although care should be taken to ensure tank mates are too large to be considered prey, as this species does eat live fish in the wild. It is recommended to only keep one fire eel. Oh, it's a fire eel, right? Tire track eel is a fire eel, right? Yes, I think so. As they may be aggressive to conspecifics. I'm going to have to look that word up after the show, figure out what that means. Prefers meaty foods such as prawn, krill, and lancefish. Live and frozen foods can also be fed. However, these foods alone are unlikely to be kept or to be enough to sustain larger fish. Some specimens will also accept vegetable matter, although this is very rare. Maintenance. Tank should be well placed with man. Do I know how to read and talk today? Jeez. Tank should be well planted with floating plants also used. An abundance of hiding places should be provided, as this species likes to hide away during the day. Bogwood, rock caves, and PVC piping are all suitable for this purpose. Sand should be used as substrate, as the spiny eels often like to bury themselves. The temperature range a little bit on the higher side, 75 to 82, which is 24 to 28 Celsius. pH 6 to 7 on the lower range. Hardness 5 to 12, a little bit rocky there. Habitat Asia, India, Thailand, and Sumatra. The aquarium size is most likely going to be about 120 gallons at 48 inches by 24 inches by 24 inches, which is my favorite size tank in the whole wide world. Jake is giving us a little bit of help here. The tire track, spiny eel, and fire eel are all different. Yeah, I think they're all Masticembalus, right? Is that how you say that? Masticembalus, I think. Is that how you say that right? I don't know. I'm probably saying it wrong, and somebody's going to be like, you're so dumb. And be like, yeah, I'm right. You're right. I am dumb. Especially when it comes to eels. I just don't know that much about eels, but really cool. You can see they're feeding them a little bit of bloodworms and stuff. So, but really cool. Just not my specific thing that I get wildly into. And but hey, we love the opportunity to be able to get some of that stuff and check those things out. This is rare. I'm actually going to reload the Patreon page. Can we trust it? We did have a new post from Karen. I did preview it on the other computer. I could read it over there. We do a brand new patronizer, Karen. Sakariasan. Sakariasen. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Sakariasen. I almost was saying Sarkeesian, but that's not right because she's not a football coach. Well, maybe she is. Oh, Lordy. It's getting wild in here, guys. I'm going to play today's video in the background. If anybody really has any questions, concerns, comments, or complaints, go ahead and throw them into the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'm going to scroll back through the chat and see what we got here. Big D Smokes says, good point, because I got my 135 with a hood stand, sump, light, skimmer, and more for $400. Yeah, that's actually a reasonable price, and there's a lot of people out there that get confused about tank prices and stuff like that, and I think it really just boils down to quality, availability, what you're actually looking for. It's like, it's like if somebody had an 8,000 gallon aquarium for sale and it was perfect and it was absolutely fantastic and I loved it. Oh my gosh. But it was $30,000. I'd be like, yeah, good luck, bro. I don't got that money. But if let's say somebody had a 120 gallon acrylic that was the same size and shape as the ones that I have now, and it was in really good shape and it had a stand and all that kind of stuff, and they were like, yeah, I want $500. I'd be like, I definitely think if I could go check my savings account and see if I could come up with that. So, it's one of those things like, cost, availability, the quality, all that kind of stuff is that you're going to kind of weigh all that stuff together. And, I would normally add up each individual part to really figure out, exactly what I would see the overall value as, right? So, with that specific setup, so let's say, let's go back up here into the chat. Big D Smoke said, got a 135 gallon with the hood and stand, the sump, lights, skimmer, and more for $400. So let's say the hood and stand was worth $100. The sump was worth $100. Lights was worth $100. The skimmer was worth $100, right? So you got, $400 worth of stuff, and you got a 135 gallon aquarium too, which you think might be worth $200 or $300 or something, right? And you're like, oh, well, it's like $700 worth of stuff for $400. Might be a good deal for you. And you're like, I've saved up $400 and I wanted to buy this thing because that's what you want to do, right? So, a lot of it comes down to that, and that's just really how I go through if I'm going to buy something, especially if it's something that's used, and then maybe I want to go check it out and see what's going on. If it's something that I needed, and that's how I found it. That's really like kind of one of those things that's how I go about it if I am going to buy something. I especially go to the used market first to double check and just see if there's the thing that I want, so I don't even have to buy it new if I can find the thing that I'm looking for. Sakariasen. Oh, all right. Karen says Sakariasen is how Sakariasen. All right. I think I'm going to be able to say it right. Sakariasen. Yes. Maybe I'll just say Karen Pepe. Maybe I'll just say Karen Pepe. Because it's way easier, right? Candy says that the prices around there are ridiculous for used stuff. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. We could do that. That's definitely true where you're at. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I trailed off. I was reading another comment. It's definitely true. Montana probably doesn't have a ton of stuff as far as lots and lots of available used things, but you might be able to you might have to drive a little bit, but maybe you have to drive to like Spokane, Washington, or maybe Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, or something like that. Maybe you got to drive a little bit, but there could be some availability. Maybe spread the search out there a little bit, the search range, and then see if it's worth it for driving. Like maybe it's something that you could drive, might be worth it. Or maybe check in Colorado, since you're driving to Colorado all the time. For Caleb. That might help. That might work. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just saying bad things. Or just wrong. Jake Hussey's wondering if I've ever kept any reptiles before. Yes, I kept turtles for years and years and years and years and years. I've also kept bearded dragons, some other assorted stuff. Chameleons. Chameleons are one of my happy to keep reptiles. But the biggest problem with most reptiles is that you have to keep crickets and things like that. And that kind of stuff just drives me nuts. Having crickets in the walls, and yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world, but that's the big deal for me. Plus, they kind of stink butt. Twin Cities Guppies $5 super chat says, "I'm coming to have ice cream with you, Joel. I can't wait. When are you coming to have ice cream with me, King Lee? Let's go have ice cream. Let's go right now. Is there any possibility that we could go have ice cream right now? I feel like I've kind of been down in the dumps. It might be time to go to Baskin Robbins and get an ice cream. Where's Vicky? Victoria! I don't know where she is. Maybe I'll convince her to go get an ice cream tonight. King Lee, when are you coming? Shoot me an email or a message or Facebook or whatever, and let me know what's going on. Kayla's Aquatics with a $10 super chat. It's a good stream, Joel. The baby looks lovely. She is fantastic. She's a lovely baby. She cried her face off at me today, and I feel like my stress level was at about a 9 because I just, like an hour and a half in, I was like, I'm just going to call Vicky because I might have to just go jump off a cliff, I don't know. It's irrational. It's a terrible thought to have, but it just literally was like, I don't know what to do right now. This baby will not stop crying, and it's making me really wonder if being a human is all that it's cracked up to be. And but yeah, she is lovely, and I couldn't be more appreciative of how great she is. It's just we all get stressed out sometimes when the baby's just going bonkers for hours. And it wasn't a teething thing, so it's one of those things. Ken says, "I'll meet you in Lakewood for ice cream." That sounds like a good idea. I wonder where the good hot spot for ice cream around here is. Used market is way overpriced where the fishy mailman is at. Yeah, Colorado, I guess, can be pretty expensive for things too. But until Facebook started putting the kibosh on selling anything on there, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what's going on over there at Facebook, but they just they've been like, I don't know. They're like, you can't sell fish on here. You can't sell plants on here. You can't do this. You can't do that. But I don't know. The Facebook Marketplace used to be good, but now I guess we all have to just go back to Craigslist. I guess. I'm trying to get selective. Archer's Friend says there's tons of stuff showing finished plants, but nothing in between. I guess said, hey, is there videos in your channels or aquarium co-op that shows plant conversion process? Yeah. Unfortunately, I have like 1,000 videos up, so I can't even really think of what that is. But stay tuned because I am converting some plants that we got that were immersed grown at the AGA, and I am converting those to be growing submerged. Ricardo Santiago's stupid iPhone won't let me super chat. Yeah, the iPhone stuff has been ongoing. There will be hopefully an iPhone button. There hopefully will be an iPhone button at some point in time that will allow you guys to join and do all that kind of stuff. But, I don't know why the super chat thing just doesn't even work, but it's just weird. Anyhow, guys, I got to go get prepped for getting some ice cream. I should probably go brush my teeth probably 20 or 30 times just to make sure so I'm prepared for the potential ice cream situation, a.k.a. just go have another cup of coffee and start dinner for Vicky because she's probably on her way home. And I'd like to have dinner ready for her when she gets here because I actually was home today, which is nice. Ricardo Santiago says thoughts on water changes once a week with rainwater 25%. There's nothing really wrong with that. That is a good idea. Just bear in mind that the pH on rainwater is super low because it is grabbing, it's basically grabbing CO2 super crazy on its way falling to the ground, basically. So bear in mind for pH swings if you're utilizing rainwater. You can, there are ways to mitigate that with if you are capturing rainwater. One of the easiest ways is to basically put a pump in it and agitate it, have it moving in the whatever container is you're collecting it in, and then you can go from there because the pH will normally have a tendency to balance out once it's been spinning around in there. Scott Williams just posted to the Monday show. He wants to try and get in on that drawing. So, anyhow, if anybody missed out on Monday's show and you didn't watch it, yes, there is a plant giveaway from me coming up very, very, very soon. UG Aquatic says, did you get anything rare and fun from the AGA? Yes, I did, and there will be some video about that coming up pretty soon. Jake's got to go. Kathleen's got to go. I've got to go. Everybody got to get going. Oh, Karen Pepe with a $2 super chat. Thank you very mucho. Kaler's Aquatics, Twin City Guppies, Jeff Rose, Fish Keeping, 54 Punchy, Jessica Taylor, Tyler Clink Scales, and Something to Do About Nothing. All super chatted today. Thank you very much, guys. I 100% appreciate it for sure. Don't forget Something to Do About Nothing and UG Aquatics both became members today. You should consider hitting that button because it's big time appreciate. But also, we got Karen Pepe became a new patron. We got Jeff W, Tim Gossetti, and Ricardo Santiago. Thank you very mucho. They also joined up on the Patreon to help chip in, hopefully get that Makerspace rolling. That seems to be our big focus goal right now, and I should probably update that onto the Patreon. Some of the people on Patreon might be tripping a little bit because you're wondering about some of the stuff that I've been kind of hinting at on there. Don't worry, that's going to be coming kind of soon. There will be some Patreon shows in the future. I guess I'll put it that way. I'll put it that way here right at the end of the show just so that the real fans know what's going on. But there probably will be some Patreon shows coming out. They've got some stuff in the works about whether or not we'll be able to utilize that or not. And I'm kind of excited. It sounds like a good thing. But hopefully that'll tie in with the new studio and everybody will be like, oh, this all makes sense. Okay, guys, have a lovely weekend out there. I'll do my best to get some edited videos out to you, but we shall see what happens and what works out. And I'll talk to you all later.